Sam.
Well, Rosalie, thank you very much for the strudel.
You're welcome. Why you don't take some home to the boys?
Yeah.
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
I hope Hop Sing likes the crockery.
Oh, he'll like the crockery, all right. He'd better. Say, tell Mike we said hello.
Of course. You'll be sorry he missed you.
No, you better make it 3.
3. Well, it'll take maybe a month at least. What's the matter?
I don't know, it smells like something's burning.
Burning.
It's the crate.
Wow! Oh, Ben! Ben! Boy. You all right? Huh?
Oh. How in tarnation did all this happen?
Albert! How many times do I have to tell you? When are you going to stop those foolish experiments? Ben, you all right? You are not hurt?
I'll live, Sam. I'll live.
Can I tell you how ashamed this makes me?
The boy didn't mean any harm.
Oh, Ben, that boy. Come. Sit right here.
Yeah, I hope I can sit.
Mr. Scientist, congratulations. You nothing to say to Mr. Cartwright?
Oh, Sam.
I'm sorry, sir.
It's all right, son. It's perfectly all right.
Excuse me, Ben, it's not all right. What if Mr. Cartwright had been seriously hurt? What if he were not a friend?
I know, Papa.
You know, and still you do these things. Why?
I'm afraid it was partly my fault, Mr. Michelson. I gave him that book on astronomy.
And my lens works great, Adam. With the reflector, the telescope...
Lens, telescope, why? To do what?
To look to the stars.
To look to the stars! But not to look close enough to see that you're endangering a friend. Go to your room. You know what we are, simple people. Immigrants. My wife makes strudel. I sell pots and pans. And yet the Lord has seen fit to send us an exceptional son.
Very exceptional. I don't know anybody around who could have made a telescope like Mike's.
You're a very lucky man, Sam.
Lucky. Every day, Albert is more and more of a problem.
Well, don't worry about it. He'll be all right. He's got a good mind. He can be anything he wants.
Albert will be a scientist, a great scientist.
Dreams. They feed on them, he and his mother. To be a scientist, he must study. He must prepare for his dreams, not play in the streets.
Oh, Sam, why isn't the boy at school?
Ben, I must tell you, Albert has been expelled from school.
Expelled?
Why? What happened?
It seems our son fights with his classmates, fights with the schoolmaster. Mr. Norton told us he could no longer control the class if Albert remained in school.
It is only that he is impatient. There is so much he wishes to learn.
I never thought George Norton ever gave up on a student.
We do not feel that Mr. Norton is to blame. It is Albert.
He's at war with himself. And so he's at war with everyone. Come, let's have our tea, huh?
Here, Ben.
One of the lesser evils of life in Washington.
No, thank you, not right now.
Well, what can I do for you?
Henry, I'd like a set of applications for West Point.
Well, aren't you pushing the age limit just a little bit? Who did you have in mind?
Well, young Albert Michelson. You know, Sam's boy.
Yes, I've heard of him. He's supposed to be quite bright.
Bright? I'll tell you something. That boy's not bright. He's brilliant. You know what that boy's doing? He's making experiments with light waves. Now, can you imagine at his age, the boy's way beyond his years.
I don't know, Ben. I don't think an appointment's possible.
Oh? Well, Henry, you know, Michelsons, they came a long way to get to Virginia City. That boy's education, well, means a great deal to them.
And I'm sure that in the old country, members of the Israelite persuasion were denied a chance of an education. Indeed, of most anything else.
That's another reason I'd like the young Michelson boy to get a fair chance in this new country.
Well, I'm afraid he's out of luck, Ben. Both appointments are filled for this year.
Henry, isn't there anything that you could do?
What do you think he'd look like in a sailor's cap?
What?
Annapolis, the Naval Academy.
Annapolis?
In a couple of weeks, I'm having competitive examinations. If you really think this Michelson boy's qualified...
He'll make a very fine naval officer. I know he will.
Well, you wish him good luck. And you give him every bit of help you can scrape up.
What kind of help?
These exams are tough, Ben. Very tough. If he were my boy, I'd sit him down and cram his head full of books right now.
All right. Oh, well, Norton.
Inspection tour?
Well, just looking at this, it's going to need some doing. It's painting.
Well, I wish more members of the school board took your interest.
Oh, I guess the men are pretty busy. They do the best they can. Well, actually, I came over to ask a favor of you.
Oh, certainly, Mr. Cartwright. Anything you say.
Well, wait till you hear now. Has to do with one of your pupils, young Albert Michelson. I was kind of surprised to hear you expelled him.
Well, it surprised me, too. I used to think there wasn't a student on earth that I couldn't handle. What's he up to now?
Well, he's not up to anything. It's me that's up to things. I thought I'd like to see him compete in the Annapolis exams. I understand they go pretty heavy on mathematics and history, and I kind of thought, well, you know, the boy will need some coaching.
No, sir. Nothing doing.
Well, it's not going to take all that time, just a week or two, and...
I wouldn't have him for a day or two. I'm sorry, Mr. Cartwright, but I have 56 youngsters in there to worry about, and I can't push them aside for a troublemaker like Michelson. Now, you can understand that.
Well, no, what do you mean, troublemaker? Young Michelson's not a bad boy. He's an intelligent youngster.
Well, there's no denying the boy's intelligence, but I have the good of the school to think about.
Well, of course you've got the good of the school to think about. What's it got to do with...
Mr. Cartwright, intelligence is one thing, and getting along with the people around you is quite another thing. Young Michelson has never learned that. Quite frankly, I don't know if he ever will. He's a dreamer, he's restless, and he thinks he's better than everyone else.
George, you admit the boy's bright. Now, all he needs is a little time and a little help.
Mr. Cartwright, that boy lives in another world. Now, I have used up all the time and help that I can afford to spend on Albert Michelson. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to clean these erasers.
There we go.
Oh, buenos días, señor Cartwright.
Is Adam here?
Sí, señor, he's inside.
Thank you. Adam?
Where you been, Pa?
Oh, I've been, say, What do you think about young Michelson going to Annapolis?
You think he really has a chance?
Well, I don't know, but... Well, if there was a chance, do you think it'd be a good thing for him?
Be perfect. They have one of the best engineering faculties in the country.
You know, Representative Quince is holding open examinations in 2 weeks, and, well, do you think a Virginia City boy would stand a chance?
Well, he'd be competing against every bright kid in the territory.
Yeah. You know, I went by the school to see Norton. I thought maybe Norton help him brush up in the studies, but, well, that Norton thinks Mike's a troublemaker, won't have any part of him.
The smartest kid in town.
Yeah. Just the same, to get into Annapolis, he's going to need an awful lot of help.
What are you cooking up?
Well, I was just thinking, you know, you've got all those old college books just lying around doing nothing.
And why don't I just coach him, huh?
I thought you'd never suggest it.
I'll bet you did.
You really think he's worth helping?
Yeah, he's a special boy. He worries about things like the stars and light, what makes the world tick. And he worries about tomorrow.
Hey, maybe Sam would let him come out and stay with us at the ranch. Be good for the boy. And he'd have plenty of good, clean, fresh air to go with all that studying you're going to be helping him with.
Yeah, it might work. But I'll tell you, he's going to be quite a handful.
What do you think you boys were? You're talking to the man who raised 3 Cartwrights.
How we got that fence fixed up on the lower corral, Buck?
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Didn't lose a single bit.
Good.
Hey, how's he doing, Adam? How's it going, Professor?
Hi, Michael. Hey, what is all that stuff anyhow, Mike? Trigonometry. The science of navigation.
Hey, what are you gonna do, navigate on the Ponderosa?
Not quite, but he's got himself a project.
It's an experiment
Oh, yeah?
in sound.
Yeah, what can you do with sound?
Measure it.
Oh, you must be joshing.
What do you want to do a thing like that for?
As a matter of fact, he could use a couple of volunteers.
Oh, Joe and me will help him, won't we, Joe?
Heck, yes, we'd be glad to help.
You might thank them.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
Look at that funny-looking thing right there.
Looks like a tent on it.
I sure hope you know something about basic trigonometry.
Oh, I can get stuff right off the sheet here.
Mike, I think it might be better if you went out and studied in your own room.
Boy, that kid sure is a bug on learning, ain't he?
You're not fooling. Every time I see him, he's got his nose buried in a book.
It wouldn't hurt you to bury your nose in a book occasionally.
He's right.
Almost. All right, that's it.
There you go.
Mike, about how far is it from here to Haas?
880 yards. Exactly.
Exactly? How do you know without pacing it off?
I know.
I know you know, but how do you know?
Well, by taking any 2 angles of a right triangle, plus one of its sides, you can determine the length of any one of its legs.
You can?
Sure. Look, the line from where I was before to here is the base of a triangle, right?
Right.
All right. The line from here to Haas is the vertical leg.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We know this angle is 90 degrees. By taking the other angle, I placed Haas just as far away as I wanted. Exactly half a mile.
And that's trigonometry, right?
Yeah.
Hey, let me look through here. Yeah, he's pretty funny. Hey, now what are we gonna do now?
You mean if we ever stop talking?
Oh, hey, I'm sorry.
All right. Tell Haas to get ready. One, 2, 3, now. I make between 2 and 3 seconds.
I'll make it 2.5.
How'd we do?
Pretty good. Works out to 1,056 feet a second.
That fast, huh? What does your book say, Adam?
1,100, that's pretty close.
Close. I think it's great. We really measured sound, huh, Mike?
Yeah, we really did, Haas.
Dogs.
Oh, you know sound travels. You've heard echoes before.
Yeah, but that's the first one I ever held in my hand, Joe.
Samuel, Mr. Norton.
Oh.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Norton. Can I help you?
Yes. Oh, Mrs. Michelson. I just came in for a box of chalk. Small box.
Of course.
Mrs. Michelson, is there something on your mind?
My son, Mr. Norton.
Oh, yes, your son. Well, of course, I'm sure you realize how badly I feel about his leaving school.
He didn't leave, Mr. Norton. He was asked to leave. Why, Mr. Norton, why?
Rosalie, please. I'm sure having a student like Albert must have been difficult for Mr. Norton. Yes, Rosalie, most difficult. Mr. Norton has so much to think about.
Well, I'm pleased to see that you understand my problems. I understand your son is spending some time on the Ponderosa.
Yes. Yes, Mr. Norton. Mr. Cartwright and his sons, they want to help him pass his examinations.
Examinations?
Yes, Mr. Norton. For Annapolis, the United States Naval Academy.
Isn't that wonderful, Mr. Norton? Our son, Albert, a student at the United States Naval Academy?
Well, I'm afraid I can't agree, no.
Why, Mr. Norton? Why not?
Well, I'll try to explain it to you the way I explained it to Mr. Cartwright. Now, I'm sure you feel your son has great intelligence, but intelligence can be either good or bad. It just depends on how the person uses it.
Are you saying that our Albert would use his in a bad way?
I'm saying he would use it in a selfish way. Albert thinks only of himself. Other people mean nothing to him.
But that's not true. How you could say such a thing? Why, Mr. Norton? Why?
Why? Why do you think your son Albert is so special, Mrs. Michelson? Why do you think that you yourselves are so special? Why?
Morning chores done already?
Hey, I thought you and young Mike were going to spend the day at the lake.
Well, we were, but it got too cold. Besides, there was some reading you wanted to catch up on.
Yeah, it is cold out. How's the boy doing? Think he'll be ready in time for the test?
Studying as hard as he can. A little too hard, maybe.
You know, I thought it'd be a good idea for Mike to be out here for a while so you could coach him, but I also figured it'd be a good chance for him to see what the outdoor life was like, take advantage of the ranch, use his hands and muscles instead of just his mind.
Tell him.
Well, Pa, it seems the boy ain't too interested in the ranch. The thing he's interested in is books. I've never seen one for reading like that boy.
Well, maybe that's what's wrong.
Oh, what do you mean, Pa?
Mike's a bright boy. Very bright. In fact, maybe he's too bright for his age. Knows much more than any of the other boys at school. He's way ahead of them, always talking about light waves, speed of sound.
Well, what's wrong with that? I think it's good that somebody's interested in those things.
Well, of course it is. Of course it is. But, well, maybe because he's so far ahead of all the others, he's bored with his regular schoolwork, so he buries his nose in those big books. Boys got to realize that there's more to life than books.
Hello. Hi, Mike. How are you?
Mike? You boys finished your coffee? Can we get back to work now?
Well, I was afraid you were going to say that. Adam, we'll see you later.
Catch up on the reading?
Yeah. This is the book by that Frenchman, Fizeau.
Oh, yeah.
I think I like this one best of all, Adam.
Well, you do, huh? Why?
Why? You know what he's talking about in here? Measurement of the speed of light. That's what I'm going to do next.
Very good. I think you ought to slow down a while.
Slow down? What for?
Well, you've been working pretty hard at all this. You got to come down to earth, get your head out of the clouds once in a while. Well, books are fine, but...
Books are everything, Adam. Why, they're the keys that open door after door after door. You remember what I mean. We talked about it a lot.
I remember. But you don't learn everything in books, Mike. I think you got to learn a little bit about people. Listen to them, observe them, respect them.
All people do is talk and hate and get in your way. What good are they?
Mike, they're the most important thing of all. Without them, all the books, your brains, all the light, well, it might as well not even exist. Without people, there's nothing.
Why are you telling me this, Adam?
Well, Mike, getting to Annapolis is only half the battle. Once you get there, you gotta live there. Think about it.
Will the applicants for the Academy examination please step inside?
Good luck, son.
You got a pencil?
Oh, they'll have plenty of pencils inside. Go on.
Good luck, huh?
Jonathan Adams. It's someone else. It can't be. It's not fair.
Albert.
It's Mr. Norton, Papa. He hates me. You know he does.
Albert, this is yours to accept. There's no reason to blame others.
No, Papa. I passed that examination. I know I did.
My son, you must learn what it is to be a man. And the time to begin is now.
Sam, we got some finding out to do. Come on.
Yes? Ben? Samuel?
Henry, Sam and I, we came here to talk to you about the Annapolis exam.
I'm awfully sorry, but I had no choice.
Now, what does that mean? You had no choice.
Now, Ben, this is a pretty big territory.
Well?
Well, Johnny Adams, the boy who made it, he's the son of a disabled veteran. Will you understand, Ben? I had to award him the appointment.
Of course. We understand.
Well, Henry, how high did Mike place?
Well, that's just it. Both boys tied for the highest honors. I'm awfully sorry, but there was only one opening.
Oh, Henry, that would be a pity, you know. Great mind like that boy has, and to lose it just because there's no room in the academy.
Now, Ben,
no,
don't...
But, well, just look at it now. Look at it truthfully. A young genius like that, lost to the world just because there's no room for him in the school.
Well, I suppose we could try to wangle a presidential appointment.
Presidential appointment?
Well, it's been known to happen. Of course, he's thoroughly qualified.
Yes.
But it would mean that we'd need all kinds of support. The town would have to be behind the boy.
Oh, there's no problem there.
You really think there's a chance for Albert?
Now, look, Sam, I wouldn't want you to go on counting on it. Let's put it this way. The sooner you two get out of here, the sooner I can write the letter.
Come on, Sam. Let's get out of here. Samuel, how are you?
Ben, Adam?
Say, is there any news yet from Washington about the appointment?
Nothing, Ben. Mr. Quince thinks we should hear any day.
Good. Now, where's Mike?
Where would he be? The livery stable, wasting his time.
Well, I'll go over and say hello to him.
He's there almost every day, fooling with his experiments and reading those books.
Tell you what, I'll go see our friend Quince right now. All right? Now stop worrying.
Oh, so this is where you're hiding.
Oh, hi, Adam. No, I'm not hiding. It's just quieter up here. More private.
Hmm? So you're not neglecting your studies. That'll come in handy when you get to Annapolis.
Yeah. I've been rigging a new experiment, Adam, to measure light.
Light?
Yeah, you remember in that book by the Frenchman?
Fizeau?
Yeah, Fizeau. Well, I think I figured out a way to measure light, too. Just think, Adam, if we could measure the speed of light, we could find out how far away the stars are, how old, their size. Maybe someday, if we knew enough, we might even travel to the stars.
Oh, now, hold on. You're way ahead of me. Why don't we just start with this thing right here?
Oh, well, this is simple. If by spinning this, I can break up a light reflected in that mirror, well, maybe I can measure its flashes, the speed of travel.
Sounds logical. Have you tried it?
No. I'm waiting for Miguel to get back to help me set it up.
Well, I'll help you take it down.
Oh.
You didn't fail me. That's wonderful. Adam, have you heard the news? Tell him. Come on, tell him.
The president will consider a special appointment for Albert Abraham Michelson.
Oh, Adam, isn't it wonderful?
We're not there yet, Rosalie.
Oh, he will be. He will be.
Of course, it means that most of the work is still up to us. I mean, we'll have to have letters and petitions.
Oh, we'll get those.
And the school teacher's formal endorsement, of course.
Just how important is Mr. Norton's endorsement?
Why, without that, we might as well forget the whole thing.
If we need the endorsement of Mr. Norton, may as well begin forgetting the whole thing right now.
Oh, come on, Sam. He's not going to stand in Mike's way. Norton isn't an enemy.
Isn't he, Ben? I hope you're right, my friend.
Will you please stay out of the way?
He's at it again.
Yeah. We better find Norton before he leaves for home.
Yeah.
All right, take it, Miguel.
Right, Mr. Norton? No thanks to you, Michelson. If you can't control your son, why don't you keep him off the streets? The boy's a public menace.
I'm sorry, sir.
Just what did you think you were doing, boy?
Trying to measure the speed of light?
The speed of light. Just listen to him. Albert Abraham Michelson, the boy genius of Virginia City. Just who do you think you are, boy? What makes you so all-fired arrogant? Games, that's what he's playing, games. And you thought he'd make a naval officer.
He still might, Norton. There's a presidential appointment all set up for him.
Oh, really? Well, I hope you don't come running to me for help.
Mr. Norton, my son made a mistake. Yes, a large mistake. But does this make him any less qualified to receive an education? Does a single mistake make him any less deserving?
Deserving? Your son? After what he's done?
Mr. Norton, you're judging that boy as if he were a grown man. He's only 16 years old. He can't help being immature.
I'm just a little tired of everybody making excuses for that boy.
Now, he deserves that appointment. Look at the marks he got.
Mr. Cartwright, I can't do what I don't believe in. Or would you have me compromise my beliefs just because you ask it?
Adam?
We'll now study the 8 principal parts of speech. Noun, pronoun, verb, adverb, adjective, preposition, conjunction. Noun, pronoun, verb, adverb, adjective, preposition. All right. Who can conjugate the verb to be?
I am, you are, he is, we are, you are, they are.
Adam. You know what's going on up there?
Well, Mike's up there studying.
Oh, it's more than that. Mike's up there teaching. He's got a whole classroom of boys.
Well, how's this been going on?
Ever since my Miguel left school several weeks ago.
Miguel left school. Why?
Mr. Norton said he was a troublemaker, that he could not sacrifice his class for a boy like Miguel.
Well, what about the others?
They all left school at Mr. Norton's request.
Can't be. We've got to get to the truth of this.
The truth. Senor Cartwright, in Spanish there is an old saying, he who speaks the truth often talks to himself.
Yeah. Well, even so, Tonio, one must speak the truth.
down. Be quiet now. The school board meeting is now called to order. Well, Ben, since this was your idea, maybe you can tell us what this meeting is all about. You all know Ben Cartwright. Ben?
Well, I guess there are many matters of importance that can be discussed at a meeting of this sort. But 3 years ago, I thought that George Norton was the best man to run our school. We all did. That's why we hired him. Since then, I'd always figured that we'd done the right thing. I was wrong. George Norton isn't fit to teach in Virginia City.
Are you lodging a formal complaint, Ben?
Yeah, I guess I am.
Well, what are your charges, Mr. Cartwright? I said, what are your charges, Mr. Cartwright? Let's hear them.
Just one charge, Mr. Norton. Bigotry.
Bigotry?
Quiet down, folks. Now, settle down, settle down.
That is ridiculous.
Bigotry is a mighty serious word, Ben. You sure you know what you're doing?
He'll do anything to get me fired. That's what he's doing. Why don't you tell him the truth, Cartwright? Why don't you tell him why we're really here? That boy there, he's the cause of all this.
Oh, he's only part of it.
No, sir. We would not be here if I'd help him get to Annapolis.
And why won't you do that, Mr. Norton?
I've already told you, Mr. Cartwright. I don't think he deserves to be a naval officer. Now, that is my opinion, gentlemen. And I am entitled to that opinion. Ben Cartwright or no Ben Cartwright.
Well, that sounds fair enough. What's the use of making more out of it?
Well, there is more. Here. Read those names.
Why, these are all boys that I've had to expel.
You mean those are boys you refuse to teach?
No, that's simply not true. These boys were troublemakers, like Michelson there. I had a right to expel them.
Are they all like Michelson? You'd better check.
Well, no, some of these boys are, well, we'll call them slow. They're children that simply don't belong in a classroom.
I see. So what you're saying is that the boys on that list are either too smart or too stupid to be in your school, is that it?
Those are your words, Mr. Cartwright, not mine.
All right, Adam. Folks, this is Miguel Garcia. He was born here in Virginia City. Miguel, will you tell us what you do every morning?
We go to school.
Where?
In my father's loft at the stable.
Why? They go to school every morning in his father's loft, in a stable, because they want to learn. Now, how come they couldn't learn from you?
You mean you sit there and go to school all by yourselves?
Oh, no, they managed to find a teacher.
A teacher? Who?
Albert Michelson. You really don't understand, do you? Well, you will. You all will. As I did, finally. Johnny Kwan. Peter Redhawk. Lee Singh. Antonio Rodriguez. Manuel Lopez. Look at them, Mr. Norton. What is it they have in common? They're different. They don't look like most people in this town look. They don't look like you. Their eyes aren't the same as yours. Their faces aren't the same. There's nothing familiar about the way they talk or look, or even the way they worship their creator. Well, they may be American, but they're not like you at all. They may be students, but they're not like all your other students. They're Mexicans, Orientals, they're Indians, an Israelite. Every one of them. Every one of them is different.
I see. Well.
Mr. Norton. Where will you go?
Well, I don't know. Anywhere there's a school, I guess.
There is a school here in Virginia City.
But, Ben, you just finished.
Well, I don't quite know what to say. I've always believed all my life that the noblest thing a man could do was to teach. To take children and to help open their minds. What I didn't realize until just now was that first a teacher must make sure his own mind is open. Well, I can't begin to make up for what I've done by a few words of apology or explanation. The only way that I could possibly make it up to those whom I've hurt is as a teacher. If you would give me another chance, I would do my best, work as hard as I could to be a real teacher to your children. To all your children.
There's a little prejudice hidden in every one of us, whether we like to admit it or not. It isn't enough just to be against bigotry. It takes some doing to reach deep down inside yourself, dig it out, admit it, and face it down. I say that any man who can do that deserves another chance.
Let's put it to a vote.
All those in favor of keeping George Norton as schoolmaster?
is part of our faith that a man may atone for his mistakes and start again with a clear heart.
The Michelsons vote yes. See, I vote yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for giving me this chance. Albert, I would be privileged to endorse your application for the Naval Academy. Besides, I think we'd all agree that this town would be a lot safer place if you were in Annapolis.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Ben, thank you, thank you.
In 1907, Albert Abraham Michelson, proud son of Virginia City, Nevada, was the first American citizen to be awarded the Nobel Prize for his precise measurement of the speed of light.